Alright, here we have the head unit like a Toyota RAV4, so this will be 2009 to 2013. Your shape will look like this, might be slightly different, this part here, but this shape here will look the same. So today we're going to put the VD head unit in here. So basically what happens is we're going to use our trim removal tool. Comes in your kit to pop off this side, that side, then we've got some screws around here, and then this whole unit's going to all pull out, so fairly straightforward. So trim removal tool under here, give it a little lift up, and then you can just pull it out with your hands like that. You can unplug it or leave it hanging down, up to you. Same on the other side here. Trim removal tool up into here, pop that off, and just wiggle it out the way up. You can leave it hanging down as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, like 10 more bolts. Just have to. Once those 4 10mm bolts are out, grab the head unit both sides, just give it a little pull and wiggle, and you'll find it'll pull out like so. A few plugs in the back you need to undo. So that's the back of the head unit there. You can see the plugs are just taken out. So you can see they have little push bits on the bottom. You have to push that down and then pull out. So 1, 2, 3, and then there was an FM antenna too. Just drop back down here, FM antenna. So right there. So here's your ease adapter cable kit here. Fair bit going on here. Different models are going to require different things, but the plugs are only fit into what they do fit into. But we will start with this 10-pin big plug, which is going to go in here. If you check the back side of this, as this plug plugs in, sorry, the bottom side, there's these 2 blue wires coming in here. Only like one of them will have something going into them, so I can see it's this one here that's already connected. That's for our antenna amp. So if it was the other one, would just change these around. So just unplug the like the black one here and plug it into here. But here I can see that it's blank. So getting a bit closer, that it's blank, but that black one's going to come through. So that black one comes through to. We want to ensure that's hooked to our power. It's for our antenna amplifier. It's the only one little trick there. The rest of it should be all pretty straightforward. Again, they are only going to fit into what they will fit into. The ones you don't use are not needed. There's a few on here because we've made a cable that covers all Toyota. So if you have a factory reverse camera or something going on, it's all going to work. Alright, so just like to pull them out, tidy it up a bit. So the ones we're not using, I always tape up and get out of the way, which will be these ones. We're not going to be using that. Tape up to get that out of the way. This reverse will hook to our aftermarket reverse camera because this one does not have a factory reverse camera. These are all the ones we're not using here, so I will just grab a bit of tape around these so they separate them for us. Then you want to grab another easy adapter kit here, and what you want to do is just want to go through and match the plugs up so they can only plug into what they plug into. So that big 10 pin one goes into there, other one 6 pin goes into here, and the last smaller blue one goes into here. So push all those plugs in, and those are all the plugs in. Now what I want to do is we want to plug like the head unit in, just like so, like rest it up here and just ensure we have like sound working. And on this one we also have steering wheel control, so make sure both of those things are working. Alright, so we've got our head unit here. We're just going to put the main 20 pin plug in the back on this side, and also that FM antenna plug in the other side. Now what we're doing this for is this is just to do a quick test before we go any further, to make sure everything's actually still working. So grab the car keys, turn the car on. Hopefully the head unit will power up. It's a good sign. So now that's on, scan the radio.
She knows.
That's good. We have sound coming through. Steering wheel controls aren't working, but that's because a basic steering wheel controls setup that we just have to do the study for. So I've pressed one here and I can see it's picked it up. So I'll just do up and down for now on sound. So now if I go up, steering wheel controls are working. So if you had like the factory reverse camera, that would also be another thing you check, but because we don't have to worry about that. Right, so this is for the reverse camera part of the video. If you have a factory one installed, awesome. You can use that. If you don't, you're going to need to install an aftermarket one. On this RAV4 model, it does take a little while. It's not the best job. Probably it's going to take 2 hours just to put the camera in. Basically, this is the camera that we're going to put out of the back here. We have to give the camera power from the reverse lights, and this RCA cable here has to plug into here and run all the way back through to behind the dash. So if you look sort of in the back of the car here, this is how far apart it is. Explain to you on this other side what sort of comes out. So you've got a couple Phillips screws in there and there. You've got a nut under here that has to come off. This lifts up. I'll just like pop off. These pop off. There is another big nut down there. So if you take off all of that, it will allow you to pull it out just a little bit. You also have to take off your rear trim here. So if you just pop your tools along here underneath it, it'll pop out this rear trim. So you can see this is what we've done on this side here, and what that has allowed us to do is it has given us enough room to get to the 3 screws to get out the to pull the tail light out. So you can probably see right through now, but there was a screw up in there which you could get through where the jack was, and the other 2 screws you can get through in here. They're just 10 mils. I'll show you the back of the reverse light. So it's sitting in the car like that. So you can see the 3 10 mil nuts that you have to pop out. Once those 10 mil nuts are popped out, you'll also see this little bit here is sticking through a white piece inside the car. You have to push this up and through quite hard. It's handy if someone else can pull the light from the outside as you push this through, because that'll be quite hard to pull out. Then you can pull the headlight out from the outside, unplug that plug, and this is the reverse light here. So this is the wires that will be tapping into for our power for the camera. Then the camera itself, the boot panel has to come off, so you can just put your trim tool or a big screwdriver in here, go pop all the way around, and then pull it off completely. And what we're going to end up doing is I've actually pulled the number plate off here. You can get to these wires in the back. We're going to put the camera up under here. Now what we've done to test our reverse camera here is we put our 6-pin grey plug in, and then we've plugged the purple RCA into the one coming from the back of the car. I'm just going to set this up here so it sort of sits in like that, because what we want to do is just want to test that we have the camera coming through. So you'll see I've just run that long RCA cable outside. Camera has been the camera wires are just tucked up over there, and they come back down the back here. Then around here you'll see they come through this like a grommet here. Then they're going to come along here, and then when we go a step further we're going to tuck them into this grommet in here and take them through here. And then we need power for the reverse off our, it's the white and black cable here, which is that one there, and the ground for the camera I'm just going to hook to this like a common ground we have in the back here. You can tell why the reverse light was by just having a look at the colour on the reverse light there. So what we're going to do is we're going to test it works before we go and put it all together to make sure it's all good. So it's all roughly hooked up. I have the power, which is the red and black, sorry, the straight, like red, going into that plug in there. You can just put the raw like wire in there, but I've just extended it with a cable I had, and the earth up here. Now we're going to go back to the car. We've run the RCA cable, as I said before, along the outside. Now we're going to go into here. We haven't got the trigger wire hooked up, but we can test it without having the trigger wire hooked up, because as long as we get like a video feed coming through to here, we know the camera's got power. The trigger wire is this little green one here, which hooks into the orange and black reverse wire in the back here, which we will cover in a second. But we don't need to do it here because there's a way around this. So I'm going to put the car into reverse, so the reverse lights have power. Then we go into our apps, looking for an app called F Camera. You're gonna, it's going to be a black screen, and then you're going to get a little camera in the top left. Push that backwards, and you can see we have no video signal, so there's no power to. So again, why it's always good to double check. I actually had it hooked to the wrong thing, so you can see we have a reverse signal coming in now. It was actually on this plug here. It's the bottom red wire, so I should have double checked on the actual plug coming through as it changes colours. But that's why it's always good to double check what's going on, or if you are clamping straight into them, it's easier as well.
So you can see our connector we include in the kit in there. It's just like an easy, like a popping connector. So you just strip the ends of the wires, you lift the tabs up, then you put them in. So we've split the single power going the reverse light into two, and that's running out here.
So again, hook your RCA cable in. I've just run it around the outside just to test the camera's working. Turn the car on, apps, F Camera, put the car into reverse, push this so the camera's facing backwards, and you can see all good. Our camera's working. So just want to do that before we go and put everything back together, so we make sure it's all working. A trigger wire will definitely have power because it's getting power from the video signal. There's a reverse cable there, pulled all the way through. I've just taped it up to push it through some bits, so it goes down the dash here. This is the easy part. Run up above with the pedals, then you can just tuck it in under the trim. You find you can just tuck it in like that with your hand as you go through, all the way along that trim, through the back door trim under here. You can actually just pull this one up with your hands, just in clips, and you clip it back down. And then it actually came up the side here, then it tucked into the back here, and then it ran back to the back out here. There it is there, so we will obviously change it a bit there so it's not in the way of the jack, and then through our main tunnel here and back out the back. So that's your reverse camera hooked in. Also in the kit we're going to include like a dual USB quick charge panel port. So if you come around and get your trim tool onto these side pieces, so if I block the camera here, your two silver pieces on each side will come off, and then your gear sticks around. If you can see that, you can just pull this up by hand. You don't need to pull it up too high, just enough so you can get to these two like Phillips screws here on each side of the cup holders. Then what we're going to do is we're going to pull like that up to allow us to get to behind here. Now you see that's pretty much allowed this whole little part to pop off here. It's basically all we wanted to do. In the back of this cigarette lighter, see if I can move it a bit more so you can see it a bit better. Don't actually need to take it out all the way. The back of the cigarette lighter, there's a white plug going into it, so it looks like that there. Hopefully you can see in here. I've just unplugged it. Sorry, so I did that the wrong way around before. So grab your two wires you have coming out of here. So your one USB one we want to have coming out the top by the head unit. So what we'll do for that is we will just, not quite as straightforward as dropping it straight down, as it has to go back behind and then back. So if you drop down this little wide end from the top anyway, grab it as it comes through. So that one's come down from the top, tucked down and coming out behind. So you want to throw that one out that hole that you pop the blank out from, and then your other one that has piggybacked out the hole as well. Yeah, once both of those are coming through there, you want to do what you did before, plug them in. 4-pin into the 4-pin, other one into the other one here. Always good just to turn the car on. This will light up so you can tell it's working before you put things in place. Always handy. And that just pops into there, so you can see that's pretty tidy. Gives us 2 USBs and a quick charge, which is very handy to have with using wireless CarPlay or Android Auto, because they can use the battery quite quickly. That's good. So now I just want to put all that stuff back in reverse. You can tuck them all back in tidy, these wires. There's plenty of room. It goes straight back, so there is actually lots of room in there to tuck them in. Push it all back down. Put your 2 screws back in. Don't drop them on the ground like that. So that's a very easy panel switch to put in, as it connects straight into the back of the Toyota cigarette plug. So just plug and play. That goes down like that. Turn your gear shifter around the right way. Push that down. And then you obviously have your 2 side pieces just to go on here. As of anything plastic, just make sure it's all lined up before you get too excited and push it in. But it will all go on nice and easily. This one as well. Go around, give everything a good push, make sure it's all back in. And that looks pretty good in there, doesn't it? 2 USBs, a pass-through, and a quick charge 3.0. Here's our 2 units here, so we don't need to use these like brackets. As you can see, our unit's a lot smaller than this unit here. The things we do need, those we just need to pop off 1, 2, 3, 4 yellowy white clips, and they just clip onto 1, 2, 3, 4 onto the car itself. So that's all we need to do. So we need to take off the old like fascia. So to get these off, you can just put like a flathead screwdriver in, like one side or both sides to pop them off. So you pop them off and you just slide them over the new one like that. Alright, so now we're back to putting the head unit back in. Quite a simple one. This model, there's not too much to do, so we'll start with the reverse camera grey 6-pin. Make sure you plug that into the purple cam in plug. Tick. Then we've got this green one coming out here. It needs to go into our orange and black reverse trigger wire. So what you do here is just pull this little plastic like dot off it. We'll include some of these clips in the kit. They just allow you to fairly easily put a wire in there, crimp it, and it connects. So you put it in the hole and you bend it down like that, and then just get a pair of pliers and give it a good squeeze together and you'll hear it go click. Now the other side that this is going to plug into is a matching one. Just make sure you put it on the right side, so we need to put it on into this one here, otherwise it won't work. So that one needs to go into this one. Again, push it through, push it down, get your pliers, it's going to go in and go clip. And then push these two together like that, so you can see green to orange and black. This will come in the kit. Right, that's that done. This is a USB we passed up from our other one. Your kit will come with an external microphone. It's up to you if you use it. So you've got this cable here, 10-pin white plug that goes into the auxiliary plugs, 2 USBs, and like an external mic. So up to you if you use the external mic or like not. But the CarPlay Android Auto one, we want to plug into our panel switch USB that we ran up before. The other one you can leave hanging down or just leave tied up behind the unit. It's up to you. In this case we only really need one USB here, but the second one and third USBs are handy for when we're on like dash cams, 4G modems and other add-ons we have. So that's basically that. So that's going to plug into the back. Some wires here you can see obviously we're not using, so if we're not using them, I normally just like to put a little bit of tape around them, tidy them up. So I'm put a little bit of tape around those, tidy all of those up, and then we can go and put it all back in. Sorry, I did forget two things, the Wi-Fi and the GPS antenna are two things you will also need to put in. As per always, just always double check before you go and put it all back together, so you know it's all good. Yeah. So it's basically all our cables done. Just need the Wi-Fi antenna, which is a long rectangle one you can just leave floating around the back, and that screws onto the brass thing at the back that says Wi-Fi, and the other one's a GPS. So the GPS, you want to get it to have a clear view of the sky if you can without any metal above it. So on here we're going to place it somewhere hopefully easy enough to get to. This is the GPS here now, or the rectangle one. Obviously peel the free end, stick off the back, and you can stick it on. I've actually just pulled this off here. If you pull both sides, it is going to come off because I wanted to get the GPS stuck up here. So to do that, we're just going to, a wire has enough room to fit in down here, so it's going to go the other way around like this. So we're going to tuck this through here, pull enough wire through. And it's going to run up, and we're going to stick it up under here, so it'll be fairly straightforward. We just didn't want to put it below here because it's just extra plastic and things in the way. So the higher up you can get it, the better it is. So put that in the bottom of the dash and give it a good push down. Get it as far back as you can. And then obviously that cable is just going to slot in between these two, so it's not in the way. And then we'll just go back and put our aircon back in. So we've got the GPS at the top there now, nice and tidy. You can roll this all back up and tidy it up. So it's not, you don't need it to be so long. So now we put the head unit back in. So GPS onto your GPS one. Make your screw that in. You got your camera into your auxiliary port at the bottom side here. There's one more thing, don't forget your USBs. Goes into this port here. These can only fit into the port they can fit into, so can't go too wrong there. And then we've got, don't forget, our FM antenna and our main 20-pin plug. Now you don't need to wrap all this stuff up too tightly, because what actually happens to it is it's just going to drop down on this model and sit behind quite nicely. So just let everything sort of tuck in and drop down below, like so, and then push the unit back in. You'll feel it all sit back in, and then we just want to test things work. So turn the car on. What you're basically testing for is, so quick test here, steering wheel controls working, radio, do a scan, cool, we got sound, and put car in reverse.